If you grew up on YouTube or the internet at all, I have a question for you. Who is your favorite YouTuber and where did they go? Do they A, still upload? Do they B, get wrapped up in some controversy and don't have an audience anymore? Or C, completely dig their own grave in some other way? Today we're talking about the third option, and that third option is Mac Lethal. I need you to understand that this YouTuber went from being offered $250,000 from Sony Entertainment, being featured on Joe Rogan, Ellen Show, to getting lower views than my last video. Cherry on top, one of the best finales we've ever seen to a YouTuber's career, an audience turning on themselves and the creator they once stood behind, and a hugely popular rapper making a diss track full-on diss battle later down the line. Let me back up a second. What's a Mac Lethal? Well, David Sheldon is the Kansas City rapper turned YouTuber that rapped under the name of Mac Lethal, and he got his start around the 2000s era, actually winning the Scribble Jam 2002 tournament. To put that into perspective, Eminem lost the Scribble Jam tournament in 1997. Eminem, Marshall Mathers, that one, he lost in 97. Scribble Jam was kind of like the Coachella or the Woodstock of hip-hop. You had freestyle tournaments, you had graffiti battles, you had DJing battles. Everything hip-hop culture under the sun was at this event. So right out of the gate, Mac Lethal started making a name for himself really early on. If you're curious, Scribble Jam died around 2008 due to the economy crashing and a variety of other factors that I'm not going to get into here. Everything from being picky with sponsorships to $30,000 of damages and graffiti outside the venue. They tried reviving it in 2014 on Kickstarter, but it was dead at that point. There was no chance it was coming back. Dave actually released his first album that very year, 2002. 4 years later, in 2006, he created a record label with two guys named Joe Good and Jeremy Willis, named Black Clover Records. And contrary to the grandiose numbers he was reporting in sales figures, no big artists were ever signed to this label then or now. So I'm not sure if this was just kind of a publicity thing, saying he was getting good sales. Around this same time, he was actually signed on to another record label called Rhymesayers. Now, Rhymesayers is a decently large label, signing on people like MF Doom and Dilated Peoples and Atmosphere. But he was speculated to have been kicked off of Rhymesayers a year later. But there's two reasons why I think he was kicked off of Rhymesayers. One, he expressed huge interest in not doing any other record label besides his own, and Rhymesayers. So why would you want to hop off the bandwagon less than a year later after that? And two, Rhymesayers seemed to have given Mac a hard time with his second album, 1111, making several reiterations of it before it was ever released. And then after that, he was mysteriously off the record label. In these reiterations, it actually required him to switch up these track listings, make and add new tracks entirely, or just remove them. But if a record label tells an artist to change pretty much everything about your project, I don't think they have very high hopes in it. It wasn't until 2011 where David started to turn into Mac Lethal and the name started to get traction. Now, you might be inclined to think that this was because of a huge album that finally caught the airwaves, maybe a project he was working on with another artist in a collaborative effort. No. It was a cover song about pancakes.
Ladies love me. I got my OJ. Everybody said to do another fast rap to this beat.
Would this ever get popular now? Hell no. But it was something new, clever, and dare I say innovative at the time. And it also piggybacked on the hugely popular song at the time, Look at Me Now by Chris Brown. Fuck that guy, by the way. He's a piece of shit. But this video catapulted the Mac Lethal name into stardom, and it kind of solidifies something I like to call the lethal formula, which is kind of keynoted by three main pillars. Yeah, we're keeping with the main pillar theme. Old internet, viral potential, and trend jacking. These three things kind of what allowed Mac Lethal to become an underground battle rapper to 43 million views on his initial video. Much like the Merc music video, I'm going to get into what these all mean in a minute, but what kind of popularity did he get skyrocketed into? Well, how about an interview with CNN or the Washington Post? Or maybe you prefer paper magazines because he was in that too. Yes, all of these happened as a direct result of a video about pancakes. I shit you not. What can't be understated enough is that the old internet's YouTube is very different than current YouTube. When something goes viral now, it's pretty much isolated just to the YouTube ecosystem and platform. Whereas back then, being viral means you got shared to Tumblr, to YouTube, to eBaum's World, to, oh god, what are some other ones? Newgrounds, message boards, forums, you get the point. Websites back in the day were pretty much like podcasts now. Everyone had them, most of them were shitty, but all of them have some kind of dedicated following, no matter if they're small or big. Videos that went viral back then were everywhere, and I mean everywhere. Ask a millennial some iconic videos, and I'm willing to bet they'll know what they are because they literally would get shoved in your face, as opposed to now where you can kind of duck out of the way of social media and YouTube as a whole, thank God. All of this led to a lot of media coverage and eventually a record deal with Sony Entertainment. Now the deal was he gets a $250,000 advance, not the deal, not the whole thing, for 5 albums from Mac Lethal, meaning right out of the gate, he gets $250,000 in 2011 money, mind you, so that's probably way more now, but $250,000 advance on 5 albums, not including the name of being published by Sony and the commercialization and grip that Sony has. But Mac saw this as unfair for some unforeseen reason. It could be just an opinion, but he was quoted as saying this regarding the Sony deal. Hey, let us bend you over and put 3 cocks in you at once. It's not really clear why he found this as unfair, but if I had to take a guess, it's because maybe they imposed too small of a window to make 5 albums, which is understandable, but man, $250,000 from Sony? Shit. The reason I'm dwelling on this is because I funnily enough think that this is kind of where the Mac Lethal downfall started, so to speak, and it wouldn't be an unfair assessment to say that he was a little obsessed with becoming viral. You could see that now, then, and in this little escapade called... If you don't know what Text from Bennett is, it is a 100% real screenshots from Mac's cousin named Bennett and Mac Lethal himself. Bennett is, quote, a 17-year-old cousin of his who thinks he's a Crip, works at a gas station, and has a girlfriend named Mercedes, like the car. This blog was and still is hosted on tumblr.com, where it typically just involved Mac Lethal scolding Bennett for being culturally insensitive, racist, or whatever other buzzwords I can think of that fits within this criteria. These were basically just kind of like a rip-off damn you autocorrect, if you remember those. Kind of like the era of LOL cats and can I have cheeseburger? Kind of that same era of just fake typos for views. Fun fact, this was made into a book where I thought it was terrible, but I'm kind of an avid book reader. But the reviews on Amazon from the middle-aged woman reading it find it quite enjoyable, so who am I to judge? But there's a smoking gun to this, quite literally. A news reporter on behalf of thesmokinggun.com was a little curious on who this Bennett character was. But he didn't ask Mac Lethal for more information. He asked Mac Lethal's father, also named Dave. And when asked whether Bennett was real, according to his father said this. That's what he, Mac Lethal, says. Mac writes them down and puts them in the form of texts. Here's where it gets messy. TheSmokingGun.com is one of those rip-off TMZ sites that's struggling to maintain relevancy even back then, and just kind of digs up things just for the sake of trying to stay relevant. However, it is verified that this conversation between the Smoking Gun and Mac's father happened because Mac directly commented on the post saying that he manipulated his father into these questions or answers basically not being a truthful interview. Mac corrected them in a separate interview, saying that he takes these texts from his cousin, puts them into whatever generator, and renames the name that's on the contact header. Now, let me ask you something. If he's putting these into a text generator, given if this is an actual true conversation, what's stopping him from changing the texts themselves and not just the contact name? Or what if about even the message count? Because no one has these many freaking messages, but whatever. Let's put all of the speculation aside for a second. What if there was direct proof that Mac Lethal was faking these texts directly on the blog itself? Well, there is. If you look at the favicon on the website, which is kind of like a tiny logo, the thing you see in your tab, you see the little website logo, right? If you look at the favicon, it's a picture of what we can assume is Bennett. Now, Bennett, this picture we can assume was taken on a date that says 7/28, and given that timestamp, that little yellow thing, we can assume that it was taken on an older camera because older cameras take those kinds of timestamps in the bottom right corner of the photo. If you look up this date with the context of Mac Lethal, we find a performance. And the video is pretty well shot, actually. You can tell it was on a semi-professional camera. And if you notice in the crowd, there's a few folks, and we actually see in a separate video, different angle, that Mac likes to, play with his audience a little bit and he actually takes this guy's hat, puts it on. So, really weird, kind of outlandish, kind of left field information, right? Well, if you look in this icon, he has sunglasses, he has very obviously fake grills, like teeth inserts, and a white hat. We can't make anything out in the background, it's too small. But if you look, what is in the front row of this video? A white baseball cap. A little bit of a coincidence, whatever. It isn't until you look later in the video where we would need a camera that Mac could get a hold of and take a selfie of with this white cap. If only there was a camera within his arm's reach that...
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Bennett is Mac Lethal, guys. That's what I'm getting at. Bennett isn't real. He never was real. It's fake, okay? The reason I'm really, really digging on this is because Bennett is someone that Mac Lethal would find very offensive, someone that he would actually find personal qualms with based on how he talks about women, about races, and about cultural appropriation, which is something he is very adamantly against. But for someone so outspoken about doing this, it's very two-faced to make a post about this kind of behavior and then continue with these vlogs within the same week of posting. Now, personally, I don't give a shit. I think that you have freedom of speech, not freedom of consequence. You can say what you want, but your repercussions that follow are completely up to what you say and how you behave. So Mac would continue to play into these little games of making up people, making up situations, as did anybody in earlier internet and now. But especially back then, it was very prevalent because people believed it more. Why would you keep doing this if you quote, pour your soul into the mic and are honest about everything? Because it gets views. That's why, guys. Because it gets fucking views. Look at this timeline here. Notice the discrepancy in views. Recorded in video is literally taken 5 days apart. You can see that this formula is working in full force. It was very, very successful, and being a businessman, he fully understands this. This should speak volumes as to how integral the second pillar of the Lethal formula was for Mac Lethal's YouTube channel. However, people weren't tuning in for the person. They were tuning in for the accomplishment, the claim, the title, the thumbnail, typical clickbait garbage. But it wasn't that clickbaity because it did have some delivery to what it was promising you. But these kind of videos don't bring in consistent views. They're kind of the one-hit wonders of the YouTube algorithm and the platform as a whole. So Mac decided to, understandably, do this again. This time, it's a story about a couple named Daryl and Nicole, based out of Ohio. And the story goes like this. Nicole cheated on Daryl because Daryl got suspicious and he went through her Facebook account, found that there were some messages to other guys. And the reason that started this was because she's a gluten-free person and there was gluten Cheerios on the top of the fridge. That's what started this whole thing. Very specific location, very specific situation. Mac's story is that he got an email from Daryl regarding Nicole's escapades and wanted to get back at her. A diss track on their relationship and a breakup song, if you will, right? And what better way to do that in a cover of a Taylor Swift song? Perfect viral material. Excuse me. This picture was provided from Daryl, but I want you to kind of look at this picture. What's weird about it? Well, if you noticed, look at the weird coloring around the edges. I'm not going to even point. There's just so many wrong things about this picture. Notice the weird edges, the smoothing, the weird blur on top of his head. I'll stop beating around the bush. Here's the original photo. It's photoshopped. And there's 3 people, not 2. It's a cropped out picture. And the picture is from 3 friends from the United Kingdom, not Ohio, completely different country. Yeah. So I don't know where Mac got this picture, nor do the victims that were influenced by this case. No idea, right? This photo is from a nightclub called Liquid in Halifax, UK. They're shut down now. Where am I getting this information? Well, directly from the source, not Mac Lethal. We can't do that here. How about the guy in the photo? This is Mr. Dirk, MD, on Reddit. He came out with a post saying, this is even a post actually. It was a comment on another post talking about Mac Lethal. If you don't believe the guy reached out, or rather made a comment about it, here's him holding up the exact shirt, pre-Photoshop mind you, with his username, which I got approval from him to post. I asked if he wanted his photo blurred. He said it was okay. So Mr. Dirk filed a complaint with YouTube after trying to speak with Mac Lethal directly and be honest with him. And YouTube removed the video. Mac Lethal uploaded the video again, this time without the photoshopped photo. Keeping with the same story, keeping with the same email, keeping with the Facebook, the Cheerios, blah, blah, blah. What's funny is that in the Reddit post, no one really said Mac Lethal at first. It was, remember that guy. Remember that guy that did blank. This solidifies what I was saying earlier. People don't tune into the person. They tune into the feat, the accomplishment, the claim, the title, the thumbnail. Take this snapshot of his YouTube channel in 2013. What do you notice between some of these? Well, there's only 2 of them over 1 million views. And these videos use the lethal formula well. But again, these videos don't bring in consistent views. And they tune in for the topic, the person, the accomplishment, the title, the thumbnail. I'm gonna keep saying that shit. So Mac decided to do another thing. 2016 rolled around, and so did the MTV show called Binge Thinking, with Mac Lethal as a host. Basically, it's trivia on the streets with drunk people. They would patrol the streets, find the most inebriated, is that the right word? The most not sober person that they could find and ask them trivia questions. Cute premise. It's not a new idea, but Mac Lethal did actually have a YouTube series like this that aired for, I think, 3 episodes called The Sauce. Same premise. MTV picked it up. They recorded a 1-season run. As the 2016 year came to a close, so did the show. They actually recorded a 2nd season. They were greenlit to record it. It was canceled. There's only one reason for this, and it's because the ratings didn't do what MTV thought they would. So it failed, it flopped, obviously. And around that same time, he was featured on The Ellen Show. I do have a timeline here. I just haven't been using it enough. I don't know if I've been putting it up on the video enough, but I did make this. After his run on The Ellen Show, YouTube traffic was bumped significantly afterwards. It was pretty consistent, too. It actually started doing numbers across the board as opposed to just one video using the lethal formula, making numbers. Now it was all of them, and it was working pretty well. From 2016 to 2019, he didn't do anything really of worth noting. He was making great numbers, probably making great money, but notice how I said 2019. And remember when I said there was a finale? Here it is, and its name is Tom MacDonald. Now, the funny thing about Mac Lethal and Tom MacDonald is that they both fall within the same category I like to call gimmick rap. I'm making this up. I don't know if it's a genre, I don't know if it's a coin term, but they both fall within the same gimmick rap because Tom MacDonald is mostly just kind of politics, controversy, and to get these views. Mac Lethal is what we like to call a lyrical miracle, has no fruit to his actual rhymes. There's nothing of substance. In another timeline, these two were probably best of friends because they both do the same shit. They both kind of have their own shtick. They don't really have any other known qualities besides being whatever their gimmick is. But Mac, in this timeline, Mac took to Twitter and vaguely said, "This white dude who raps about how white dudes are super oppressed is garbage. I don't know his name, not going to learn it. His bars are fucking awful, and he can shove his entire low rent aesthetic up his ass." Shortly later in the day, "Hello, I'm here to appropriate black culture while simultaneously whining about how white people are victims. I'm not here to get into politics, I'm just rereading what he's tweeted." Though Tom isn't explicitly named, it's kind of obvious. He had just came out with Straight White Male and White Boy, both of which got huge numbers for being controversial, and it's obvious that Mac Lethal kind of caught this either in his feed or got sent to him, and that's his comment on it. He's a very outspoken individual when he wants to be. And these two tracks could arguably be what cultural appropriation he was referring to, but Tom tweeted back at Mac, basically reminding him, "Hey, you haven't been relevant in like years, dog. What are you doing? You spelt. I haven't been relevant in years and I'm super fucking jealous. Wrong, bro. I've sold out your city twice. Maybe you can open next time." That city being Kansas City. And then, this is where things got spicy. First of all, he commented on this. I think this is Instagram. It looks like Instagram. I just have a screenshot. It looks like Instagram. "First of all, I don't know who you are, and I haven't heard of your music until now. That tweet was someone much smaller than you. However, if you feel like it applies to you, fine, I'll play along. I don't think your aesthetic is low rent though. Your videos are very, very well produced, and I also don't see any videos of you outright saying white men are oppressed, but maybe I didn't watch the right ones." Are you fucking me right now? Okay. Opinion time. Really? Really? Straight white male and what was it? White boy? Really? You didn't watch those ones? Okay. Anyway. Which leads to my next point. I have 2 million more subscribers than you. My views are down 40% this month, and your views are up 50, and I still have 1 million more views than you. Also, I've sold out your club that you're talking about over 40 times. I didn't bring any of this relevancy shit up, though. You did. This is an art, not a competition. I wish you success and luck. Okay. Good response. Obviously, Tom didn't take this lightly. He didn't take this quietly. Who would, to be honest? Mac, instead of doing his usual double down, kind of started doing something we like to call backpedaling. And the reason for this is because Tom MacDonald and Mac Lethal's audiences interchanged a little more than what Mac Lethal presumably thought. And a lot of people started siding with Tom MacDonald because obviously he puts out more consistent stuff and puts out more original compositions than, say, Pancake Rap over here. A full-length diss track named Lethal Injection was published and complete with screenshots, so no one missed out on what the context of this was. And honestly, it was pretty weak. The bars were mediocre. The flow was very slow and choppy. The production was fine. The music video was just him waltzing around in a ballistic vest, I guess. But something that me or anyone else on the internet realized was bait. This was a bait. This was a mousetrap. This was a trap. And everybody, including me, walked right into it. Mac Lethal, like we talked about, was a battle rapper. So he dusted off his rap battle skills and took to YouTube to voice his concerns with who he calls Tammy McDogfart. Tom MacDonald, Tammy McDogfart. You know, we're coming back with the playground insult here. Pretty much everything that Tom addressed towards Mac was promptly addressed and returned back to him. There was some dirt dug up on his old wrestling career, because apparently Tom MacDonald did like a WWE amateur thing. It was what we considered to be the winner up until that point. The thing about this is, like I said, everybody, including myself, considered Mac to be the winner of this. And though it was a small beef in terms of the rap community, it was still big enough to rack in a good amount of views. And there was another one yet to be made, and it was what put the final nail in Mac's coffin. You're gonna need a whole family of coffins when you crisp and warm to solve all your problems, the shame and embarrassment. This broke the internet. This is the definitive reply. This is the nail in the coffin. As someone in a YouTube comment put it, this wasn't a diss track. This was an execution. Every possible diss that Mac Lethal threw at Tom was not only returned, but returned tenfold, and then some. Every possible comment that Mac Lethal made on Tom was addressed. The flow was snappy, the bars were good, almost every bar had some kind of cutthroat insult in there. Again, I don't like Tom MacDonald, but fuck, Mac Lethal got slaughtered. Tom MacDonald kind of took inspiration from Mac and dug up some things on him, like being kicked off of MTV, like being kicked off of Rhymesayers, and reiterating that he's just a lyrical miracle with no substance whatsoever in his original compositions. From what I've seen, and I'm looking at it right now, there doesn't seem to be like a drop in subscribers after this point. This is the day before Mac's tweets were put out, April 9th, 2019. He was at 2,056,798. But here's a screenshot of May 21st, 2019, 2,289,454. He didn't drop at all. He actually increased, but in a month. I mean, he got he got more subscribers than I have, so he did something right. But a lot of his fans on other platforms like Facebook, listening platforms, Twitter, started turning on him, and YouTube itself, the platform that he makes his living on, he was getting slaughtered by the comments. Supposedly, he was deleting comments. I don't have proof of this, but I do have proof of him not leaving comments on for his next video. And then he turned them back on, but the comments are still flooded with, hey, you lost, fucknuts. Shortly before the second response of Mac Lethal's came out, there's a second one. Mac Lethal scrubbed his entire Twitter wall.
Why you bullying me?
The entire thing. His wall was completely blank. And that's not characteristic of the big tough guy persona that Mac puts on. Now, mind you, he is a parent. He is, probably worried about, this kind of backlash from crazy fans. But like, you make such an effort to be a tough guy, and then you go and delete absolutely everything you've ever put out on your biggest platform. I don't know. That's kind of a tell, at least for me. And speaking of deleting things, he deleted Single White Female, which was his diss title. That was the video name. He deleted it entirely for reasons, which is weird because it was like one of his best performing videos up until he deleted it. In the description, though, there's a statement that says, "This will be the first and last response to this guy." It wasn't. And here's where the second part comes in.
I've heard it all before. My depression is so severe, it's impressive that I'm still here.
3 words. Womp fucking womp, dude. Now, to make this clear, I'm a huge advocate for mental health awareness. Personally, mental health awareness is a constant thing in my life that I have to deal with, but you are in the middle of a diss battle, like a rap battle, so to speak, and your first opener is, "My depression is so severe, it's impressive I'm still here." There's a place and a time. This is neither. Mac, you're a battle rapper. If you're watching, you're a battle rapper. Whenever has a pity, like a self-pity take, like a woe is me take, ever worked in a rap battle? It's besides 8 Mile, but that's a movie when Eminem dissed himself. But then he promptly flipped it. You're just trying to plead like, woe is me. That's the best way I can put it. That's the equivalent of being like in a political debate class and you're going at it. And then you just come out like with your opening statement on your next turn and you're just like, I have irritable bowel syndrome. It's not relevant. Like, sorry to hear that, but it's not relevant. And there's a place and a time, and you are in neither. And it makes you look stupid. It's even more so a wrong place, wrong time, because it's not just your fan base tuning in. You have both sides of the aisle basically hate watching you. They're waiting for you to respond. They're waiting for, how are you going to top this absolute slaughter? And honestly, it would have been better if you did nothing like this. Because not only does it make you look stupid, but it makes you look desperate, because what's the first thing in your description, Mac? You're coming out with a new album.
Really, nigga?
How fucking convenient that when the whole world of rap is, not the whole world, but a large chunk of people interested in the underground scene is tuned into you, you make a new album, which, by the way, you never fucking made. So, nice follow through on that one, dumbass. It's a reach to call this even a response. It serves one purpose and one purpose only: promotion, both for his album that never came out and for his channel. This rap, God, I hate saying that. It's not, it's rap technically, but it's fucking shit. This song has like 2 bars dedicated to what the title is, and it's literally clickbait in rap form. It's honestly impressive, not that you're still here, but it's impressive that you managed to do clickbait on a rap scale to the point where it's actually a part of a diss battle that you were having. Like, that's impressive to me that you managed to manipulate that. The video's title is very obviously formulated to piggyback off of what Tom's video title is, and to get traction and traffic off of that. And funny enough, Tom's video not only has more views, but that whole thing that he, like, I have more views than you, I have more subscribers than you, I have blah, 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 blah. Now, he fucking dwarfs you, Mac. So that aged like fine milk. So that leaves us here. Mac Lethal's channel has been dormant for about a year now, actually. Before that video, the view counts were kind of wherever the wind, or the algorithm rather, blew them. They're not consistent whatsoever. And his subscriber count has actually dropped by a couple dozen thousand, or you know what I mean. I think it's like 40,000. But I don't think that's necessarily because of inactivity. I think that's just because YouTube likes to purge and delete inactive accounts. And I think that's just what it is. You see that a lot in old YouTube channels like Machinima and stuff like that. I'm not a betting man, but I have a prediction here. Mac Lethal is going to come back and he's going to formulate something like he got robbed, or he got jumped, or some bullshit about some Russian kid in the middle of the Russian-Ukraine war needing a bike or something like that, just tugs on the heartstrings, gets you playing the tiny violin. Who knows? Maybe he'll even make a video about me, which I am woefully unexcited for, because I am very unexcited for absolutely anything this guy puts out. His Twitter's banned anyway, so where's he gonna go? MySpace? It's not gonna be lethalville.net, his former forum website, because not only is it deleted now, but it's run by like Chinese scammers, and it tried to download a fucking virus on my computer, so fuck you for that. I had a lot of people asking in my last video what are my opinions on the topic without any basis in fact, what I think personally. With the utmost sincerity, David Sheldon is a hypocrite at best and a performer at worst. This man, I'm sorry, this kid thrives off of hyperbolic video titles, clickbait, and doesn't come up with anything innovative, and hasn't for at least a decade now. It would be stupid for me to deny that he had skills at some point in online spheres and battle rap. That would be ignorant. But the style he flaunts is gimmicky, corny, and he's a relic of a past YouTube best era. I would never dare to ever say that Mac Lethal is true hip-hop. When I think hip-hop, I think Mobb Deep, I think West Side Connection, I think Nas. Not this shit. I would never dare to say that. With the current climate of everyone trying to be a micro celebrity, and the whole generation of SoundCloud rappers is technically past us, that doesn't mean that they've dwindled in numbers. They've just dwindled in popularity. The market is oversaturated, and though you did trailblaze this unnecessary path that no one asked for, it's time to move on, Mac. There's no room for you in this current environment right now, or ever. In a sea of artists trying to be big most of which with no skill. There is waves sometimes of artists that are truly innovative and need room to breathe and need that audience to keep going with their projects. Tyler, the Creator, J. Cole, shit like that. They need breathing room. They don't need your shit clogging up the mainstream pathways of where people get their information on rap or hip hop. Mac, if you made it this far in the video, I have to thank you for your contributions to YouTube and early internet, but it's time to move on. And if you, dear viewer, have made it this far, thank you. But I have one more request for you. I'm actually starting a charity. I need your help on spreading the message or even donations. Anything is appreciated. More information on the charity and the journey taken to go about it will be on my second channel, which I will link in the description along with the charity itself. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. Remember to join the Discord, and most importantly, go outside, touch grass, and stay hungry. I did it! Of someone, fuck, I don't like this. Got too excited. And come here. No, you fucked up my cut. Now you're coming over here. Say hi. Say hi, you motherfucker. 2016 came, and so did an MTV. Fuck. MTV. Named Rhymesayer shortly that. Dude, I'm gonna fucking lose it. Hey, stop fucking with the. Grr! Cat, go. Shoo. Vámonos. My point with the. Fuck. Best way I can describe him, you know, making an album announcement off the piggyback off of a rap battle is what I can best describe as moth meet flame. Just floats towards it, you know. Pillar was and how integral it part. Fuck. To be signed on to any other record. Ah! Fuck! I'm gonna fucking lose it. My mouth's getting dried out. I don't like that cut. Shortly around that time, 2 in a row. Okay, third time's a charm.
Stop being a little bitch. Oh, I'm so worried about haters. What if people don't like it? What if people reject me? People are gonna always fucking reject you.